The dog that waited for years, a true story of unwavering loyalty. In a quiet town nestled between rolling hills and winding roads, there stood an old railway station. Time had aged its walls, and its wooden benches bore the marks of decades of travelers coming and going. Every day, the same faces passed through, some in a hurry, others lost in thought. But among them, one figure remained unchanged, a large, black and tan Rottweiler sitting patiently by the entrance. Commuters who frequented the station knew him well. He was there every morning when the first train arrived, and he remained there until the last train departed. Rain or shine, through the bitter cold of winter and the scorching heat of summer, he never left his post. His eyes, filled with quiet hope, searched the crowd every day. His name was Bruno. Bruno had once belonged to an elderly man named Samuel, a retired professor who had lived alone for many years. Samuel was a kind but solitary man, spending his days in the company of books and long walks through the town. One winter morning, he found a small, malnourished puppy shivering near a cafe. The pup had been abandoned, left to fend for itself in the cold. Samuel picked him up, wrapped him in his coat, and took him home. From that day on, Bruno and Samuel became inseparable. Wherever Samuel went, Bruno followed. The two could often be seen strolling through the park, sitting side by side at the cafe, or simply enjoying the stillness of a warm summer evening on their porch. Their companionship was built on love, trust, and the kind of quiet understanding that only exists between lifelong friends. One of their cherished routines was walking to the train station each morning. Samuel, who loved visiting the library in the city, took the train regularly. Bruno was not allowed on the train, so he would accompany Samuel to the station, watch him board, and then return home. By late afternoon, Bruno would return, waiting eagerly at the entrance for his master's return. And so the ritual continued, day after day, year after year, until the day Samuel never came back. That morning had been like any other. Bruno trotted happily beside Samuel as they made their way to the station. The old man patted Bruno's head, smiling down at him. "I'll be back soon, old friend," he whispered. Then he boarded the train, and Bruno sat patiently at the entrance, watching as the train disappeared into the horizon. Hours passed, and Bruno waited. The afternoon train arrived, bringing home familiar faces, businessmen with briefcases, mothers holding the hands of small children, elderly couples shuffling slowly toward their destinations. But Samuel was not among them. Dusk fell, and the lamps in the station flickered to life. Still, Bruno remained. The station master, an elderly man named George, recognized Bruno and approached him. He knelt beside the dog, patting his head gently. "Go home, boy," he said softly. "He's not coming back today." But Bruno didn't move. What no one yet knew was that Samuel had suffered a heart attack while in the city. Despite the best efforts of doctors, he had passed away, never getting the chance to return home. Bruno, however, did not know this. All he knew was that his master had left through those doors and had not yet come back. So he waited. Days turned into weeks, and still, Bruno waited. He refused to leave the station. At first, the townspeople assumed he would give up and return home. But as days stretched into months, they realized that Bruno had no intention of leaving. He would sit at the entrance of the station, eyes scanning every train that arrived, tail wagging slightly whenever he saw an elderly man who resembled Samuel. But as each stranger passed him by, his ears would droop, and he would return to his waiting position. People began to take notice. Some brought him food and water, while others sat with him for a few minutes, offering quiet companionship. The cafe owner near the station placed a bowl of fresh food outside for Bruno every evening. A kind-hearted woman knitted him a scarf for the colder months. Even those who had once ignored him now acknowledged his presence with a gentle pat or a warm smile. But despite their kindness, Bruno never stopped waiting. Seasons changed, yet Bruno remained. In the winter, snow gathered around his paws, but he did not waver. The townspeople took turns brushing the snow off his fur, and one man even built a small wooden shelter near the station entrance for him. In the summer, the sun beat down on his back, but he did not seek shade. Volunteers placed a large water bowl nearby, ensuring he stayed hydrated. His once vibrant coat began to gray, and his movements grew slower with age. But even as the years passed, Bruno's eyes never lost their quiet determination. His story spread beyond the town, reaching news outlets and social media. Journalists came to document the extraordinary devotion of the dog, who refused to give up on his master. People from distant places traveled just to see him, to offer him comfort, to marvel at the depth of his love. Some tried to adopt him, offering warm homes and cozy beds. But Bruno always found his way back to the station. No matter what, he would not leave. One cold autumn morning, the station master arrived to open the station as he always did. The air was crisp, and the streets were quiet, save for the distant hum of an approaching train. But something was different that day. Bruno was not sitting in his usual spot. George found him lying on the old wooden bench where he had spent so many years waiting. His breathing was shallow, his eyes half closed, but there was a peacefulness about him. He gently stroked Bruno's head and whispered, "You've been so patient, my friend." With one final breath, Bruno closed his eyes. The town mourned his passing as they would a dear friend. They held a small ceremony in his honor, placing a plaque near the entrance of the station that read, "Bruno, a symbol of loyalty." He waited for the one he loved, never losing faith, a reminder that love endures beyond time. His story was shared around the world, inspiring countless people with his unwavering devotion. Though Bruno was gone, his legacy lived on, a testament to the loyalty and love that only a dog can give. And so, every morning, as trains arrived and departed, as people hurried by, someone would always glance at the bench where he once lay, remembering the faithful dog who had waited for years, never losing hope. Thank you for watching Bruno's incredible story of loyalty and love. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Dog Discoveries with Florence for more inspiring tales of canine devotion. Let's spread awareness about the powerful bond between dogs and humans.